Blessed and wonderful people, thank you for being here again today. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, all right now. And today is a beautiful day. Today's a lovely day. Today's a good day. Every day is a good day. But anyway, let's get down to some real serious business. And it's business seriously is a concerning our offsprings. Yeah, our children. And the reason why we want to bring up these children because we're looking around now and said like, our leaders of tomorrow. And why would you say leaders of tomorrow? Because unfortunately, all of the matriarchs and I say, and the older elders are leaving us. They are gone. They're transitioning big time. But then again, we look at this place where it started off in the early days of the 50s and the 60s, right? In the 60s, they had a little situation in the Far East called Vietnam. And because of the Vietnam situation, many of us lost their lives. Many of them came back in a bad place, a bad situation, mentally, uh, just yeah, Agent Orange, a lot of stuff, cancer all over the place, uh, just really messed up in our mindset, right? So there was no support, not say no support, but there was very little support of the government to help the returning GIs. And then again, there was another situation that came about, whereas those who didn't go, they stayed home, they went signed up for college and everything. Then they just like they rebel. They want to go to war. I don't blame them either way. But anyway, I was there in that situation similar to that right now, but in the 60s. So then there was a cultural revolution. Revolution, come on now. Let's think about these words. Revolution in the 60s. And that revolution said that, well, since I'm going to rebel against the government, I'm going to rebel against society, I'm going to rebel against the standard, I'm going to rebel against the whole act of trying to do this, doing that, and the other thing. I'm just going to become another person, my own self, my own individuality. And that came up with a situation called sex, drug, and rock and roll. Free sex, no matter, no, they took off all the inhibitions, they took off all of the standard, all of the protocol and everything. Just do it, just get busy. And then another thing that happened, see, with the Vietnam situation back in the late 60s, maybe in the early 70s, is that it was easy to get marijuana. Oh yeah, seemed like every country had a different brand, a different degree of strength. That is right. So, all right, pots. They call it pot spellers, pot this, pot that. Right. So all most of our young people did back in those days, they were like late teens, late teens that is, and that was in the 60s to the 70s. Then they become uh, uh, adults more or less. They're already adults because they're doing what they want to do. But then let's move forward. Let's move forward to the 70s. And then during the 70s, because of the people that was coming in from Vietnam, because of the people that they were like society, they were hurting their children. Then society decided, the government decided to take the prayer out of school. You can't do corporal punishment. You can't do this. You can't do that. And then a child could call 911 on you, on the parent. And the parent said, like, hey, you raise them now. You raise them. I tried to do what I can do. I can't even spank my child. I can't even punch my child. I can't discipline my child because now the child got more rights than the parents. And during the 70s, then there was a birth outbreak. Oh, yeah. Because now, back in the 60s, that is, late 60s and stuff like that, with all of this sex and drugs and free sex, that is, and everything, the population boom, boom, baby boomers, they call it, right? Uh, then they had the thing later on down the road a little bit, they had legalized abortion now because so many women become pregnant, so many women were doing this, so many women doing that. they had legalized abortion because before then, you could go to jail for having an abortion. A person could lose their license and everything, but then there were all these backyard abortion places and all this stuff, coat hangers and a lot of different things that wasn't right. People were dying still, but yet still they more particular about situation. But now when they had the free, the standard, the set, you can go get an abortion. All you have to do is put your name down there, and you have to put your name down. Sometimes you just sign up and let's go put somebody's name down. Anyway, abortions, right? So now you had abortion for the women. School was there to help you go through school, but not in school and about school. So when that thing happened about the school situation, that thing happened, but no prayer in school. Then they started taking away documents from public places. How do you call it? The commandments. No way on the government property no more. Oh, stuff. A lot of things started happening. Many things were changing back in those days, right? So now we look at the situation where the parents then, the parents that were back in the 40s and 50s are now up in the late 60s and 70s. And the children that were born out of the free sex zone, right? Because now you don't have to do this, you don't have to do that. You can just lay around, you can do around, you can go around and do anything you want to. But then they started having this situation where the government was taking care of all of these babies that were coming about. They could have been in the place of the village and different things, welfare. And then you got free this and free that, free natal care. This, all right. So now, what you gonna do? Free that. So all you do is lay around, make babies. Then they had some jobs, a few jobs that were, how you say, companies and corporations, because during the of the Vietnam, there was no more use for weaponry, no more use for this machinery type thing, because that's what most people were doing back in those days, supporting the war effort. And that's what happens every so often. The companies would gear up to support the war effort. And then you have job. I had 3 jobs sometimes one day. You get fired on one job, go to another job, and you get hired that same day. Today, no, sorry about that. But anyway, moving on. Back in the 80s now, late 80s, seemed like mom and pop that was there having those babies in the 60s, they were like 20s. Now they 40 years later. So now they're heading toward the 50s. And the children are rebelling. The children are doing what they want to do. Most of them, everything. That's it, everybody. Come on. Let's get real, okay? There were a few good people in every situation. Come on. But the majority and the many, so many that was rebellious, so many that were doing everything they want to do. And then in the 90s, here come the law again. Okay, you was get sent to jail for having any type of drug. In the 90s and the 2000s, they had still had drugs. Then another situation came about, HIV. HIV was another situation that came about, social, sexual situation that were rendering people dead because there was no cure for it. And people still had getting involved with doing what they had to do, doing what they want to do, and then there was no consequences to them, but it was a consequence. Usually, after you diagnosed with HIV, you had maybe a year and a half to 2 years, boom, out of here. But now they have developed a medicine now that keep you alive a little bit longer, or even much longer. Now you can take medication that lasts you till you get old, but you still got the disease. And they say, oh well, it won't even be detectable. This, that, and the other. Still having people to still do what they were doing anyway. Now, those children those children of the parents. Now, from the 20s, no, from 2000, right? 2000 and going up the road, 2000 to 2020, rebellious. No one can tell them anything because now they are the grandparents. They are the grandparents now, and their children don't have to listen to anybody. So, mom that was single usually had a boyfriend or gotten remarried with about 3 or 4 children. And these little children today, then in the 20s, 2020s and 20 up, you can't tell me what to do. You ate my daddy, there's another, you ate my mama, and I don't have to listen to you, this and that other. That spirit start going forward. The spirit started moving children towards that place. And then prisons started being built. Then they started losing their masculinity because there were so many of our young men going to jail. Then they've been raped, messed over, misused, abused, even in prison. And then the women that were there, that were left over, they were losing their jobs because now factories are leaving town. Factories are leaving going overseas. Where can you do now? We're not qualified for different type of jobs, different situations. So they still stay at home, still in the project, still in that place of making babies. They still depending on the system. Man still cannot be in the house. So now they have baby daddies over here, baby daddies, and baby daddies, and baby daddies. 3 and 4 and 5 baby daddies, that is, right? And then these babies, they're now teenagers, a little before, a little under teenagers, in the 2015 to 2020s already now. They're now beginning to be around almost 20 years old because now they were born in the 90s and the 20s. All right? Let's do the math, people. Let's do the math. So now you're looking at these rebellious children that are out there now being abused. They are abusers. You can't tell them anything. They have ideals. They have like lost their identity. So many of them have lost their masculinity as men. So many girls have lost their femininity. They are now becoming homosexuals, left, right, and in between. So the standard of immorality is growing. And God had already told us that he burnt down 2 cities, Sodom and Gomorrah, because of this situation. He also destroyed the whole earth because of the sin, the process of sin, impurity, that is. All of this stuff, rebellious, that came about, he just flooded the whole place. And he said he repented of making man. That's how sorry, how bad the saying were at that time. Then he started all over again with a family, a man and his wife, 3 sons, and their 3 wives. Okay? But now, moving forward, coming on up, this is a new situation, a new day, and a new day, and a new situation. Then here we go again. All of this stuff is happening today. So now, it also raised up a child the way it should go. But when he get older, he will not depart. But who is that representing? Who is God talking to in his word? Before, he was talking to the people that had power, had the strength, they had concern and consideration for their family, their children. He was talking to the people that would say, I love my family. I'm a head of the house. I am the matriarch. I am the elder. I am a leader of the family. And then he said, man should be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth and with his wife. But in the meantime, the wife now has taken on another role of independency. She's now taking over the church, that is. Where's the pastor? Pastor's out there doing his thing. The pastor no longer doing pastor's Torah type thing, laying before God, receiving the message from God. But now the pastor's doing the same thing that the people in the street was doing most of the time. A lot of many times. Okay, come on, let's get it right. Let's get it right. Many times. And then churches started closing. And back in the 2015, that is 2017, 18, people started leaving the church because the sin, the sin of the world, sin in the church. And people, as I said, the sin of many, the love of many go cold because of the sin, increase of sin. People started listening to false information. They listened to all of the garbage that was coming through over the pulpit because the evil one was taking over that building, taking over that structure, taking over the formation of the building called the church at the time. Because the true church is those who believe. The true church is those who still stay steadfast, unmovable, always believing the work, believing in the Lord. But now the church is dwindling. There are few members in the church, a few members in the body. So now, looking at the body is not reproducing as it should be for the holy ones. They're reproducing wild weeds, the bushes, the wild briars, the wildest. Uh, they are producing angels of destruction and destiny. So, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? These are the offsprings that Satan is coming in, and now the parents can't do anything to them about them because now the parents have lost touch with their children. So we're looking at today when say children's more or less under 50 years old. Under 50 years old, that means they were born in the 80s, in the 90s. All right now? And they are now parents and grandparents. Grandparents, that is. Their children are now like under teenagers. About that. And the things are changing. Laws are changing. Rules are changing. But not for the best. Because one of the scriptures said, said, spare the rod, spoil the child. Today, you will find that there are about, I say a number. Let's pull out a number from the action. You said 20 women, 20 females, that is. Over across the board, there's maybe about 12 to 14 male for 20 female. Come on, people. Look at your prison system today. Packed with men. Packed with men. There are a few women in prison. Okay, we got that. We got that there. But look at the age group of the men that are in prison. Under 60, under 70 years old. There are very few old people in jail today. Come on, let's go. Let's do something about this. So then look at the Shady Crest rest area. The ground is calling out for the spirits that are now buried out there on that long stretch of cold earth. Look around, people. Look around. What are we going? What are we doing? What are we into? So who do we blame? We actually blame, it falls back, like I said before, and I'm going to keep saying it until the Lord take a breath away my breath. Still the man, his primary objective, primary ability, the primary situation goes that he's out of position. Because even though his woman, his wife, his girlfriend, however, he was making babies by, he could have still made an attempt to teach, train, and be there for his sons and daughters. But no, he was too busy. He was too busy with his drugs, with his alcohol, and chasing other women. He would go from one house to another house, and he was making babies left, right, and in between. One father would have maybe 3 or 4 children by 2 or 3 women. And that one woman, he would have maybe 2 children by. And so he had spreading out his joy, spreading out his situation, his pride. He's spreading out his situation. It wasn't his pride, but he's spreading out his self, his value. But that value became weak. That value became tainted. That value became polluted. So now he blaming the system. He blaming the system instead of pulling up his pants, pulling up his backbone, saying something, doing something, studying, accumulating. Well, they won't let me have a business, and every time I try to get a business, trying to get something going, something come out, they wouldn't give me no money at the bank. Your grandfather, your grandfather, way back in the 40s, way back in the 30s, didn't have a bank either. That little $3 or $4 they put in the bank every so often accumulated farms, accumulated ranches, accumulated homes, accumulated neighborhoods. And what about you? You had your job and you spent that little $300 or $400. That $300 or $400, $300, $200 that you got every week, at least $150, $50 up because I made $130. Yeah, and guess what? I was flying all over the country, catching me a Greyhound all over the country, going to seminars, going to meetings all over the country. So come on, don't play, don't play. I couldn't do this, I couldn't do that. I had businesses. You can do this, but yeah, the government's gonna come at you, gonna talk to you. But how many of them you got together? Because of the greed, because of the corruption, because of the lust, because of the arrogancy, because of all of the stuff that come about. All these things that came about, insecurity, infidelity, trifling, backbiting, come on, arrogancy, self-centeredness. These things start to hinder you. Pride and greed. You were offered your grandfather back in those days, maybe offered a couple of dollars and you kept your mouth shut. And then what makes it so bad? The church received some money from the government. And now the church will not go out there because the church used to be the center of the community. Oh well, they signed a little thing back in those days. And that was how long ago? Almost 30 years ago. When they were offered a little taste of change. And now they're still quiet. Church used to be a meeting place for the community. Let's do this, let's do that. Come on, you got ideas, you got suggestions. Let's do it. Come on, put it together. But no, the self-centeredness is really taking over. And our children are still running wild, running wild, running wild. And then not only are the children running wild, but they are not apt to learning to grow. They're not apt to having wisdom and understanding. They're not apt to having a forth of how you say looking for a plan of action. They don't have that vision to say we're gonna do this, let's build, let's grow, let's do this, let's do that. No, sell grandmama's property, sell granddaddy's ranch, sell granddaddy this, and then those people come about the developers. Developers come in and make uh, houses and houses and houses, and then you go back and rent a house for $800 a month. And that grass, that pasture land that you sold for $2,000. How much wisdom do we really, really, really have? So, people, think about these things. Let's do some talk about these things, because pretty soon we're going to be up out of here. We're going to be up out of here because all the people that were born after the 50s, we're heading down the road. We're heading down the road. I'm telling you. And those who were born in the 60s, rough. And the people that's coming behind us, when God said, don't hinder a child, but uh, raise them up the way they should go. Are we really raising up our children? Are we really teaching them anything the right way, the way to go? Are we really helping them out to be structured in the way of the Lord? Are we caring about what's going on with them in their life? Think about it. And let's come on and let's be about it. Let's walk the way. Because right now, they're heading for destruction. In the next maybe 20 or 30 years, it will only be a few who have the vision, the mindset of wisdom. But right now, looking around and looking at the social media and stuff, if it wasn't for the few women that had some kind of a clarity, some kind of understanding, we would be lost already. We're making bad decisions, making bad options, making bad moves. And what are we doing? Depending on the woman to carry us through. Women are out front. Every time there's a situation or something going on, the women are out front, and there are two or three guys in the midst. And then they're being called, yeah, all right now. So, what are we doing? Are we going to last this long? We're forcing the hands of God to come down. We're forcing the hand of God. Ah, because they said, well, you can't tell God what to do everything. All right, all right, all right. There was a man that was supposed to die. But he told God, he said to God, the grave cannot praise you. God won't praise us. He wants glory. He wants that love. He wants that consideration and compassion as a person. And God say, I give you 15 more years. All right now. So you can sway the heart of God by being for real, by being the right person, the true person, and loving him. Loving him. I believe that God will love you. You can love God until you're 200 years old. I do believe it. So, yeah, we all have a number, but God is God, and he can determine who and what and where and when. All right now? Think about it, people. Think about it. With that in mind, wonderful people, take care, be blessed, be blessed. And I hope to talk to you soon and very soon, because we coming up, God has given us some messages that we have to take hold of, because the pollution and the volatility of this world, the atmosphere is changing day by minutes by minutes. We don't know if we're going, coming, or barking at the moon. We've been talking about this for years and years and years. When is enough and too much? When are we going to have enough of this mess going on? Because now this is becoming international. This is not just, say, locally. This is not just family. Even the families are in bad shape. Because he also said, you will be betrayed by your family, by your parents even. Turn you over to be killed. Oh, I can't say that. Okay. Turn you over to be unalive. Your brothers and sisters, your friends will betray you. Wow. Think about it. Think about it. So stay strong. Stay strong. Grow up and be about the Father's business. Peace and grace and love. Bye now.